Hey, what's up? It's Sunday. Welcome to Space Couch. Oh, it's really good to be beaming back to Earth. I'm from Earth actually. I tell people like at parties and stuff that I'm actually from space, but no, I'm from Earth. So it's nice to be able to hang out with all you wonderful people. And one wonderful person in particular, but we will get to that. Oh, Conform Coast, David Kulchin in the house already. What's up to Milwaukee? Uh, you know, up here in space, there's much less gravity. So the sleeveless man like myself is really at a disadvantage. So I like to use Gothsicle brand shoulder shave gel that I got from thegothsicles.bandcamp.com/merch. It's a real thing. You can really get it. Shoulder shave gel. And, beta virus. Oh, and the amazing Ray. What is going on, guys? So, we got a treat for you. Um, I had originally set up the terrestrial station to beam down to Nevada, but our guest isn't in Nevada, so I had to use a little triangulation and my super space instruments to find this guy. And I'm glad he did, because this was one of the most exciting albums, I think, in anybody's collection in a while. Got to see this man recently perform live in Boston, where I sometimes touch down in space. Without further ado, and no more introduction needed, ladies and gentlemen, Nevada Hardware, what is up? We can see you. How's it going, sir?
It's going well. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, and thank you for coming on to Space Couch. It really is a quite a treat. I mean, it was quite a treat to meet you recently earlier this year and see you just crush live at Convergence in Boston. That was great. And no, not a problem. I mean, like our mutual friend Matt Finale was saying that you guys had done such a great job in Madison and that No Future album. So let's get right into it. I lived in Chicago for a long time, and unfortunately, we never met. And
yeah, that's weird.
That's on me. So forgive me for being a little bit pedestrian and starting with the question about, like, give me your kind of superhero origin story, if you could. Like how?
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, not a problem. Like, well, I initially started. My introduction to music was playing rock music, right? I was a guitar player for years, and I played in rock bands, throughout high school. I moved to Chicago, started a band here, and kind of the usual stuff that comes up happened, right? It's people aren't always on the same page, and particularly, trying to find a practice space in the city, it gets to be a time and money drain, and it got to be a point where I just got burnt out.
Right.
But I mean, as far as transitioning over to electronic music, back in 2010 or so, I'd put out an album, like a rock album, but like we put out 2 remixes, and I worked a little bit on that through, just I guess initially in FL Studio. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I helped do that, and it really was interesting to me. And I got to a point where it's like, man, it would just be easier if I could just do this on my own. but I kind of went. I stopped doing really kind of any music or live performance for a couple of years. But in the interim, my brother was really pushing me to develop what I learn Ableton and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I got a bunch of seeds together. I'd done experimentation, learned that for a while, and then I guess maybe 2017, my brother was going to release. My brother's in the Balance, right?
Yeah.
He was going to do a debut show for his album, The Dust Trial. And he's like, hey, I booked a show. If you're interested in it, get some of your tracks done. Come out. You can open for me and whatever you want to do. So with that kind of a gun in my head over the summer, I'm like, okay, let's figure out how to do this, scrape together kind of these ideas that I've had for years. And that ultimately ended up being, No Future. Nevada Hardware was born after that show.
That's awesome. Well, your timing couldn't be better. The boundless digital gnosis, Mr. Nick Jones, has just joined us. What's up, sir? And so that's awesome. Like, you kicked it together in like a summer, and that was what, like, just 2010 or so? Did you say?
No. That's what I'm saying, man. From like 2010 to 2017, I did,
Oh.
or maybe 2012, I did nothing.
I lost.
So I mean, that's the thing, you play guitar. Playing guitar, it's one component of many, right? But when you're doing something like in a DAW, you have to drive the car and build it at the same time.
Yeah.
So starting over, trying to understand how
Totally.
just the device itself works, understanding how to write in an electronic medium, took years to get to where I was doing that. So it's not like I just sat down and tried it out,
Okay.
But I had a bunch of ideas, right? And I would demo stuff out for Nick a bunch, and he was like, oh, this is good. You should do something with this. You should do something with this.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Maybe one day I will.
Oh, space connection, space problems.
It was just kind of the perfect opportunity. It's like, hey, man, all you need to do is.
Oh, what?
If you're talking, I can't hear you. Okay.
Okay, no, that's gonna sound awesome. That's getting sampled. I know you can't hear what just happened, but it totally just sounded like a Nevada Hardware track, like it just glitched out.
Fantastic.
So I'm glad we're back. So what's up, Cy? Boston's own Adam of Big Time Kill is here. Dan Arlavalley, what is going on? Madison, Wisconsin. We will reverse the polarity in a second. Free sample for everybody. We like to give back here on Space Couch. But listeners of the show and viewers of this program know that we sometimes do arc around like a planet or the gravitational forces. It can sometimes cause problems. So and we have the king of static in the house, so you're just gonna be a little black hole unto yourself, my good friend. So you must have learned how to build that proverbial car pretty fucking quick, because I feel like No Future blew up. It was like hit #1 for a couple keywords on Bandcamp pretty goddamn quick. Is that your feeling? And if so or not, what's that like to blow up overnight?
Well, it was crazy because, again, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know what kind of response to expect. It's not like I've been waiting. I was like, okay, well, here's the album. I'll put it out. And then it's like a perfect storm. I think it was just perfect timing. Because, again, as you mentioned, Matt Finale landed on his radar. He heard it and just put it in front of everyone. So I can't thank him enough for that. But yeah, it's kind of funny because if you're not prepared for that kind of stuff, you realize that, okay, well, now what do I do? I got to figure out how to do a live set. I need to figure out how to, am I going to do merch?
Wow, you hadn't even got that far with it.
You know what I mean? Like, what what is it like to book a tour? Can I take my gear on an airplane? You know,
God
like,
damn, man.
man, I just wasn't prepared for it at all.
Get
So
out.
it's been a quick learning curve, man. You know, so but no, it's been amazing. It's to where like it messes my mind up a little bit because I have no benchmark of success. Because again, I was like, maybe a couple of people listen to it, maybe they'll buy it. But I tell you, the one thing that was really cool about it, particularly because, you know, as I mentioned, you know, you and I were in the same city, but we never met. I mean, nobody really knew me in the scene. The thing that was cool about it was that I knew without a doubt, you know, because sometimes when your friends tell you, it's like, oh yeah, man, your record's great. But to have just a massive amount of people you've never met be like, oh yeah, this is a great album. You get out of your own head. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
you know, people aren't being nice. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe I'm actually on. You know what I mean?
No, it's 100%. Like, you know, my mom likes it. That whole thing. But
Like, of course you do.
I went home for Christmas one year, and my parents had literally put a Gossicle CD in with the coasters. The not like Hungary's Planet Damage was like, you're having Nevada hardware on? That's awesome. I love that guy. It's like a pretty worldwide phenomenon. I mean, Finale can promote like nobody's business, but the product's got to be there, and it's a hell of a product.
And to his credit, man, because again, I almost to the point where it was probably embarrassing for both of us. I thanked him, right? But I mean, put it in perspective. I mean, pretty much with those exact words. He's like, listen, man, you know, I put it in front of a lot of people, but you know, it's up to them whether or not they liked it. So I mean, it was cool to have that put in perspective, and then that's when it kind of clicked. So it's been great, man, and I just can't believe that again. Just what, a year later after releasing it, I'm you know, playing Convergence, you know, and I get to meet you.
Yeah,
And now
well, that's the real prize.
that's exactly. That's what
Quick shout out to Never's Blessing in the place. What's up, Summer, Dan Gunther, and Dan LaValle. So let's actually cover the content of it. Is there like the album No Future available now at nevadahardware.bandcamp.com?
correct.
Is
Streaming service. That's what you want.
pardon?
It's in his streaming services too. But
And
yeah, if you
streaming.
but get it from Bandcamp.
it's just a beast. Is there a particular like gestalt is a word I tend to overuse, but feeling or unifying thread on No Future?
It's interesting. What something that I'm kind of curious about is does it seem like that to you?
Yes. It seems very Cronenbergian. Like
Interesting.
if the monsters on Nightbreed, like if two of them got together and had a a dope industrial early '90s Nightbreed kid, he would have a Nevada Hardware tattoo. That's maybe like because there's a definite to me like it's very fun. Like I am the Lord. Yeah, like what's that?
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's kind of ultimately what I was going for. Is it? I wanted it to hit hard, still have a dark quality to it, but to be fun. Ultimately,
Yeah.
right. And if you think about it, the way they're arranged, you can tell that I come from like rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
They're rock arranged, and I have a track that's over 4 minutes long, right? So it's important to have hooks. And what I wanted to do is that, I mean, I was writing with intention as far as sample choices it goes, but I wasn't trying to make an ultimate point. But I wanted to have, again, the human voice, something that you could latch onto, and that, if anything, even though nothing is ultimately being said, you could sing along with if you wanted to, right?
I dig it.
And again, it's like I realized that a lot of it, as far as my those influences go, are kind of throwback to that. Yeah, I guess what I was saying is like if you were having like a fever dream at 2 in the morning in 1994, watching 120 minutes, right? Maybe you saw, maybe you heard one of these tracks. You know what I mean?
I dig it.
That's the vibe I was going. But again, also that that I didn't want it to be tied to any particular context, or I wanted it to not explicitly state what it was enough that you could kind of latch on to whatever you saw in it, you know?
Awesome. Because it's like, Yes, yeah, I can kind of tell that there's uh, televangelist E or esque samples, let's say, but it's
Sure.
not like I'm not gonna point to it and go, that's definitely from The Watchmen, or you
Exactly.
definitely sampled Sixth Day or something like that. So I hadn't thought about it, but that's a great thing. Like it's sing alongable, but not for a certain.
Yeah, there's no like slogan to it.
There's
You
no
know.
slogan. So no name, no slogan. Uh, you'd mentioned David says it should be on the Cyberpunk 2077 OST. Maybe.
Why don't you mention that, dude? Talking about right place, right time. Um, that's I wasn't getting much traction on Spotify, but I ended up on a 20 like they did that show, the game announcement, right? And I was on a Cyberpunk 2077 playlist. Exploded. It's
Nice.
just right sound, right time, I guess.
It's really it's man, I love it. You'd mentioned FL Studio early on, or I don't know if you're still using that. I like to ask specifics if you don't mind
By all
letting
means.
me know what you're using right now or used on No Future or any of that.
Right. Well, I mean, I got familiar with just DAWs in general with
Yeah.
FL, because again, when we were demoing out tracks for the rock band, I mean, like that's how we would do it. We just program drums, and I'd write, try to, write guitar riffs to I guess ultimately sculpt what the song would be. So I was familiar with that when I first dove into it. That's what I tried to use, but then I quickly moved over to Ableton Live. That's what I'm
Mm.
using now.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that helped influence, I guess, the sound that ultimately ended up on the album was I write in. Are you familiar with Ableton? Do you ever use
Yeah,
it?
totally.
Yeah. I write in session view,
Okay.
um, where it's just like a collection of loops. And then in doing that, it allowed me to, again, as I mentioned, I'm kind of Frankensteining a bunch of ideas I've had
Mm.
for years. And I'm like, okay, well, this part that I wrote here, I can just kind of demo and see how it works, which is why a lot of it, they take wild turns oftentimes,
Mm.
So um, that's specifically what I'm using. As far as plugins go, I mean, I use a lot of the like Korg stuff, Korg Legacy,
Mm.
and the Oscar, um, and then just various plugins. But honestly, man, like I use samples, and not
Mm-hmm.
samples as just what you're traditionally thinking about, like I Am the Truth or whatever.
Right.
Like just anything, man. Like on the track I have DMCF, there's like a kind of sub, almost gabber kick part to it with
Yeah.
it's like an arpeggio going over the top of it. That's a cat screech.
Get out.
Yeah, dude, I took a cat screech and I warped it because the warping mechanism in that is great. And
Fuck
I
yeah.
just threat and then fucked with it to the point that it just ended up
Glitch in the Matrix. All right.
sounding like that,
Uh, Mr. Jones, I need you to repeat your.
And
Ah!
so at that point, I mean, it's like that was. Are we having some space turbulence? Do we
Oh,
hit a
space
sunspot?
turbulence. Um, we left off at um, uh, warped cat, which is not a sentence I say
Yeah,
often. But
exactly. But I mean, that's one of the things that I think is cool is that uh, uh, that it was, it's just whatever you want to use is at your disposal.
mm,
I mean, because again, Ableton's got a really cool work tool, and you can just use I'll use whatever, And then what I think was cool about it too is that again, having that, as I mentioned, that like um, uh, 3 months that I had to get the stuff together, I had to make decisions quickly. So I'm like,
so
yeah,
good.
fuck it, I'll use a cat. Let's see what we can do with this, right? And a lot of it was just this experimentation. This is kind of crazy too. The hook and smash cut, right? That
Mhm.
really nasty bass.
Yeah.
It's one note. I was just trying to learn how to use a pitch bender.
What?
So that's just pitch bending. Yeah, pitch bending. Once I did that, then I just chopped it up.
Oh, this is like finding out the Mona Lisa was painted with finger paints. Like, and I mean, the finger paints have a childish connotation. I don't mean to say that. It's like finding out it was made with like a hammer and chisel instead of paint. Like, it's you used wildly unpredictable tools to make a masterpiece. Is what I'm getting at. Uh, and I do not use that word masterpiece frivolously. It's really good. Like
Thanks.
if I'm working out in the morning and like I need a charge, man. I'm smash cutting to smash cut. It's a great pick me up. We had
that's
spoke.
that's what I was saying. That's why I named the track that, because that was one of the first ones I had, right?
Yeah.
And looking at it's like I was like, oh shit, man, there's no through line to this. It just kind of goes, right?
Mm.
It comes back to, but I was like, it's like I'm just smash cutting between different sections and feels. So
Awesome.
that's why the name's that, you know.
Ah, we're learning so much here on Space Couch. Aren't you glad you tuned in for the Big Nevada Hardware episode? If anybody wants to know anything, please
Yeah,
type her out. I want to know, like, so let's say all your influences started like a university, right?
sure.
And what? And they're like professors at Nevada Hardware University. Uh,
Sure.
what subjects might your influences teach?
Okay, man. Well, preface this. Preface this that I've a little behind the scenes. Yeah, I knew about this question, and I ran some of this stuff by my girlfriend, and it bombed. So forgive me. But we'll try it, right?
You're in a
It's
safe
okay.
place here on Space Couch.
It's a safe place. Please don't judge. Yeah, meet Manifesto. We teach film studies.
Okay, awesome, love it, perfect.
Um, Lords of Acid, obviously human sexuality. Pop Lead itself will teach Spanish.
Oh, Dos Dedos. Yeah,
Just it-
yeah.
right, but the thing is, the class is popular, so you want to make sure you RSVP. So if you do that, then everything's cool.
Okay, all right, awesome. Um,
All right. So
you.
Fluke, you know the band Fluke?
Oh, Atom Bomb.
Am I
Yeah.
glitching again?
No, you glitched
There you
again.
go.
Um, how did these bomb? Because these are amazing. And
Gotcha.
yeah, Big Bird says the word. I haven't thought about fluke
That's
in
funny
a
you
long
mentioned. I
time.
say Fluke. Yeah. I was gonna say Fluke's teaching nuclear physics. And
Ah, I love it.
you
I love
know
it.
why? Revco.
Yeah.
Rolton Cox will do supply chain management, considering they're known for being stainless steel provider.
Yes. Yes.
The KLF will, right? KLF teach econ because they got money to burn.
Oh, very good.
4242, human resources.
Yes.
Uh,
Not religion.
this one's a stretch. The Underworld
Yeah.
will teach a class on the epic poem of Gilgamesh. Or sorry, the dirty epic of Gilgamesh. They were
Damn it.
thinking about.
I didn't know you were going
They
to
were
that
thinking about doing. Yeah, they were thinking about doing the Divine Comedy, but it was too dark and long.
Oh.
And then 9 Inch Nails. You know, I just couldn't think of one. I
Okay.
tried, but I gave up.
they can
There you go.
oh man, they can teach like government zero or spelling and capital G. But that's just off the top of my head. That was amazing. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. Oh, what's up to Matt and Maya Lieberman says it did not bomb. You're just too smart for me.
That's my girl. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. And what's up to Providence in the house? All right. I'm gonna need that list, and maybe we can post it in the show notes because
Deep cuts on that. Like again, like the. Go ahead.
that was perfect. Now I am as if I wasn't enough of a fan already. That was a home run. You knocked that so far out of the park that it's gone into orbit, and Space Couch will circle around the Earth and return your proverbial baseball back to you there in Chicago. I haven't been to Chicago and since I moved to Boston actually. So man, I'm gonna have to get back there. Sorry, I just had that thought come into my head, but I am not in Chicago. When I'm on Earth, I'm in Boston, and got to see you and your brother light it up here for Convergence. That was great. How are you finding the live show experience, and anything else you want to let me know about for live shows?
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for coming out, and thank you for to the Convergence guys for having me out. I mean, that was amazing. And the whole experience was fantastic, particularly Jared. I don't know if he's even on here, but if he sees it later, super nice and
The best.
really made me feel welcome, and it was completely amazing. The now playing live has been interesting, right? Because again, you're coming from something like playing guitar. It's tactile. You kind of know your role. It wasn't all on my shoulders. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, how the hell am I going to do this live, right? And I guess that's kind of where it comes in. Writing in session view has been helpful because, again, that's what I do, and I'll trigger it live. And I'm thinking, well, how can I make this interesting for people to see? And sort of reimagine what it can be live, but still be true to the track that I'm playing. So it's just a matter of finding different spots where I can maybe loop it for 4 to 8 bars, extend it, do effects like filters or stuttering drums or something like that to make it interesting and make it a live, compelling experience. But I think that's really where again having video that helps kind of home the visual aesthetic of what I'm trying to do is helpful. And that's why it's been great. I mean, again, I can't thank my friend Nick Liberator. He's the other half of Digital Notes for doing all that video. He's an amazing artist in his own right, and as well as a musician. But I mean, really, when I'm looking at it, and that's what I'm thinking, playing live, I guess I've kind of settled on. It's not like I have a hype man. There's no vocals, anything, So my main goal is to go, how can I get this room dancing, right? If they're paying too much attention to me specifically, then I haven't done my job, right? So I want to create just like an atmosphere, change the room to where, everybody just enjoys themselves,
Awesome.
Again, that's where the kind of music that's fun. As far as live shows, yeah, I have a couple of coming up. I'm playing August 30th in Tampa, Florida. Crowbar.
All right.
I'm playing with Ghost Feeder, Alpha Quadrant, right? They've been on.
Former guest of the show, Alpha Quadrant.
That's right. Giant Monsters on the Horizon and Paper Kite. We're all going to be on that one. And then I'm playing again. I'm playing in your Milwaukee on November 27th at Club Anything. I'm opening for Street Cleaner and Protector 101. So
awesome.
2 big shows coming up that I'm super psyched for.
Fantastic. I grew up in Milwaukee and later moved to Chicago, so I'm well familiar with the venue which you will be playing. That sounds like it's going to be great. So, if you are in Tampa or Milwaukee, internet, come on out and see Nevada Hardware. He's amazing live. You had mentioned that, like in a rock band, when you're sort of playing guitar, it's not all on your shoulders, and
Right.
when you're playing live, especially for like a 2-person industrial band, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that sort of control, or is it like a whole I hope I don't fuck this up sort of vibe?
Well, yeah. Well, I'll see this. It's like, I'll have differing responses for it. Part of it, yeah, it's more on you. So I guess I like having the control, particularly at the writing, right? Although that can be difficult too. It helps to have an idea to bounce off, right? To have somebody else go, no, dude, that part's cool. Don't cut it, and that's helpful. And in playing live too, it's like, again, it's not all on you. So if like the crowd isn't feeling it, man, it's just you, or maybe you. And if Nick Liberator is here with me, we're just like, oh shit, well, let's get through this, right? But I think the biggest problem, I guess the thing that I miss most about being in a band is that it's difficult to share the success. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, fuck yeah, I killed that show. Normally you'd have like 4 other guys with you that you can have that camaraderie with.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But here it's like, yeah, it's great, but it's just you,
Interesting.
Which is interesting. Yeah, it's great. It's cool in a different way, but it feels like, yeah, I miss that, I guess, having people to kind of share that with.
I haven't thought about that. Like I normally play with like one other guy too, and you go, "Hey, nice man," and that's usually as far as it goes. But to have the
Right.
big like, you we're building this thing together. That's an interesting uh, uh, a difference, I guess, between let's say rock and electronic music. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, I thought you guys were great in Boston. The audience loved it. Want to give a shout out to Boston's own Big Time Kill for mastering, if not producing. I'm sorry, I'm getting the actual verb wrong. The Digital Gnosis album.
Yeah.
So it's a weird Boston Chicago connection. Uh,
And
that
congrats to him, man. I mean, those guys just put out a killer EP. And
dude.
again, talking about what's cool. And here's the other thing that I think is interesting: transitioning from rock to this kind of scene is just how supportive everyone is.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
no one's trying to step on anyone else. At least in my experience, maybe
Uh-huh.
that happens, but you know, I showed up to playing in Boston, right? Met you, Adam from Big Time Kill came out, and other shows I've been to here. I mean, everybody's just been, hey man, I love that stuff. It'd be awesome. They'll come on here. They like your stuff. They're promoting it. There's a support, I think, that I just hadn't seen in other scenes.
That's
like,
awesome.
particularly rock. That's awesome. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know what you're saying, but like to be honest, in industrial with the dusting of goth is kind of all I do. So like I don't really go to like a lot of rock shows or whatever. So getting that sort of juxtaposition is interesting to me. Do we still have you? Like,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I thought I'd lost you for a second. Quick shout out to Planet Damage in the house,
Hi.
and oh, Robots with Ray Guns is here. Rock Star Show. You're bringing out all the big guns. No
Nice.
pun intended. Um,
But we are in space.
well, you know, it's yes, but you're the brightest star in space. No fooling. No Future. We talked a little bit about this before the show, but that came out on your own Think Break Records. Am I
Correct.
saying that right? Okay, so uh, basically, I mean, it's a self-release in that you're not signing digital rights for whatever. Uh, the What has that experience been like for you, sort of managing the whole thing? I don't know what your experience with labels in rock world was, for example.
I've never been on a. It's always been kind of self-released, no matter
Hmm.
what. Really don't have anything to compare it to. But again, you're looking at it in the modern era. I mean, looking at what labels do, I think it serves a different function than maybe it used to traditionally, right? I mean,
Hmm.
before you would think about, there were certain distribution channels for physical merchandise that
Hmm.
needed to, or like, CDs, vinyl, whatever. Um, and you also needed to, a lot of times you had to write music in an actual music studio, right? You'd have to book time to do it. Where now, I mean, it seems like it's transitioned over there. I mean, they're net labels, and definitely they're very visible, right? Like,
Hmm.
again, like Negative Gang and like Glitch Mode and whatnot. And it's, I'm trying to think of. It seems like the advantage of doing something like that would be great to have a sort of, again, first of all, a collective branding and an identity of what you are, and a sort of a mark of distinction, but
Hmm.
also the connections that are there that have been
Hmm.
fostered for years, and also being able to get on like bigger festivals, and I'm assuming like showcases like South by Southwest, that kind of stuff. That there's just no way I could do it, but it would be much harder to do self-released. However, if you just want to bang out some songs and get it out there, I mean, self-release seems to work, right? I mean,
Hmm.
there's other than, it would be nice to have somebody just deal with the shit that I don't want to do, you know?
Yeah.
Figuring out, again, it's like, oh, well, how do I ship something to Sweden? How do
Right.
you know, should I do physical copies of this? Which is a question I like to ask people. I mean, like, I thought about that. It's like, should I do a physical release? I don't know. It's all been digital at this point. I really had no intention of doing something physical, but yeah, maybe I'm open to it.
Interesting. So, I haven't bought a CD for a million years,
Same.
and No Future is at the time of this recording still just digital only, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. I mean, it's an interesting question because or I mean, notion to me at least that the album blew up and there's not. Time was when you didn't, if you didn't have a physical copy, like why even do the digital? And now I think it's kind of the other way around. Um, I mean, I've had a lot of success with that with my own Tiger Squawk records. I know I'm promoting my own shit here, but
Sure.
like do I really need to get it into a Best Buy or whatever? Like I don't think so
Just
personally.
don't even carry music anymore. I don't even know.
I don't even
Like
I mean maybe like a Beyonce CD and buy their register like it's fucking Starbucks, but
there you go.
who cares? Yeah, I mean
I mean,
uh
how's it been? I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, you're running a label, right? I mean,
mhm.
how and so what do you see? I mean, how do you? What are your thoughts on it?
I it's such a gamble. Like I have under my bed right now, I have a box of physicals that
Yeah,
uh they move okay, but it's gonna last me the rest of my life. Like it's they're not flying off the shelves, um,
sure.
and I uh, I don't know that being signed to a label would move those really any faster. What like I just got excited because you were talking about the community aspect of it, and like my own Tiger Squawk, like Science Fiction, who's in the room right now, got to collaborate with Isserly from Australia. It creates these connections in these relationships that I think is pretty
Absolutely.
great. And it sounds like that's what Think Break is doing for you. It's you and your brother, right?
Absolutely. It's me and my brother, and again, Nick Libertor. We have
Nice.
another guy we're going to be working with, Daniel Knox, who's completely outside of the scene.
Nice.
But something will come out to that. But really, we're looking at it. We're going to go, okay, well, we want to release music, and we want it to have an identity, right?
Hmm.
Not just shooting it out in the dark. And particularly because we all have a tendency to influence one another.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, well, so no matter what, I mean, we're going to have differing styles, but if I want to have a location where if you like one, maybe you like these other two, right?
That's
To help
awesome, man.
support each other with material, right? Um, so I mean, and you think about it too. Is like I think about how I grew up trying to discover new music. You would look for that, look for that wax tracks, look for
Hmm.
that whatever, like to discover a new artist that maybe you haven't heard of before,
Hmm.
and that figure out if we could brand that or put it in a place where people can find it in a centralized location, it would just make it easier.
Dope, dope. So is there a Think Break Records like a site or something people should go to?
ThinkBreakRecords.com. If you want to go there.
ThinkBreakRecords.com. Check that out. Um, I, right, wrong, or indifferent. I put a lot of cinematic quality on Nevada hardware. It seems very VHS-y to me, and I dig that. Um, nah, no Scoper 23 wants to know what Vape Liquid duo you use. I don't know if he's talking to me or you. Um,
I don't use
I
it.
don't fuck that shit. Uh, okay, so oh, these guys in from Twitch. All right, that makes sense. Anyway, the
Mystery solved.
I have the icons off the screen. I can't tell which platform people are coming in from. I use the KY Jelly anal loop. The
It's a good brand.
yeah, well, you got to go with the champion. Just answering some questions in here, and what's up to Subscrodeto Snake 458. The back to cinema, real quick. What are some of your favorite movies?
Well, we were talking about the VHS quality. Yeah, dude, like RoboCop. Love it.
Nice, nice.
Classic. And again, that's whole sort of 80s dystopian thing.
Mhm.
Running Man. Like I love all that shit.
Awesome,
Another thing
awesome.
I like action movies. like martial arts movies, like The Raid,
Oh, I don't know that one.
and Ong Bak.
Oh, nice, nice.
One I highly recommend that's actually out on Hulu is The Villainous.
The villain.
The Villainous. It's a Korean action flick. A matter of fact, because again, I like John Wick too.
Okay.
Well, John Wick, all three of them
Word.
as well. And in the recent one, there's a sword fight on the back of motorcycles that was a direct homage to The Villainous. They do that. They did it there first.
Okay.
Check it out. Enjoy it. It's kind of like, it's really stylized. It's a Korean action flick, but it's like there's an eye for cinema to it. Like there's the cinematography's cool. It's almost like David Lynch directed La Femme Nikita, but with kung fu. It's awesome.
You sold me.
But speaking of, yeah, right. But a movie that really stuck with me growing up too, man, was Lost Highway.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
From the you haven't seen Lost Highway?
I know. Oh, I know. I'm admitting to the internet I haven't seen Lost Highway, but no, that's definitely on the to-do list.
Well, particularly stuck with me because it just seemed like a riddle, man. It's like even after watching it, it's stylistically interesting, and you still don't understand necessarily what even happened. You know, it's one of those things that sticks with you. And like, you know, I saw pre-explosion of the internet in my freshman year of college. I met a dude next door to me. He was like, "Oh, you've seen the movie? Let's talk." He had a notebook just trying to decipher what it was. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
and I mean, the soundtrack was cool as hell too.
Well, I should let you know that my favorite classical music album that later became a Thai fighting movie is Switch Dong Bak. Switch Dong Bak. That was the appropriate response. I would like to talk a little bit about your brother and the musical relationship there, because that's pretty awesome, I think. Like,
yeah, I mean, I've been lucky because, again, I mean, to have somebody who, when you think about, again, doing electronic music, it's a very specific vocabulary that unless somebody else is fluent in it, you're going to seem like you're insane. It's like, oh, you start talking about compression and whatever.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Nobody knows what you're talking about. Have somebody who is doing the same kind of stuff you are, you can bounce ideas off of. It's been awesome, you know, particularly because we'll share tips. We share sample libraries. I mean, and if I learn something, I'll show him. He learns something, he shows me, and there's an influence that goes on there. And the same thing is true again with Nick Liberatore. I know I keep bringing him up, but again, what he brings to it. I mean, he comes from a background of doing like keyboards, right? And he understands classical arrangement, and you can really hear that in like string arrangements, and it's very cinematic in its own right. You know what I mean? But his approach and him, particularly when he works with Nick Liberatore doing like digital gnosis, it's almost like stream of consciousness. Like they'll start with a part A and it'll morph seamlessly into a part B, and it's its own unique kind of thing, its own unique experience. I mean, they'll experiment a little bit with it, particularly in their newest album about bringing it back around. But like it's very you kind of, when you start the song, you may end up someplace completely different. Whereas like what I do is I would consider it more like an architect, right? I methodically build it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to intro here. I'm going to hit the hook here. I'm going to come back to it here. And it's a lot more, again, riff-based, I think.
Okay.
Comparison.
Interesting. So,
with Voivod, I mean, he's the king of the breaks and glitches. So I learned all of that. I was like, if you ever hear the Amen break, he is a direct influence and
awesome.
Specifically on me using that.
Okay.
And chopping up too. I mean, that's why I got into chopping up audio like I did.
Oh yeah.
Is again, I would just see what he do with a razor blade because he works specifically in FL, and I would just watch him just destroy beats. And like, I want to do that. But then I didn't stop with beats. I was like, oh well, let's take this sample of somebody singing and like let's harmonize that with something else, and then throw that under a huge beat. You know.
I love it. What's up to Sirvain? Thanks for joining. And so interesting, because it's like my younger brother Like I used to think I was some sort of singular musical prodigy and nobody sounds like me in the world. And then my brother started making music and
Okay.
he fronted an electronic band and sings like this and like it's the same thing. But it is and it's not. So like do you see any sort of like a tendency between you and Digital Gnosis to like create a style of bass line, let's say, or make a break in a certain way?
Oh, as far as like
Between
approaches to sound,
yeah,
or do we try to?
no,
I think if anything, man, I think what we'll go and I'll be like, oh, this sounds a little too Gnosis,
okay,
or like, oh, this sounds like a little too Nevada. But we'll have hit. I'll be like, oh, well, check this out. I did a Nevada hardware dinner. Like, okay,
okay,
that's cool. To where you try to be conscious of having your own distinct style while still giving nods to people around you that have influenced you.
okay, dope,
You
dope.
know? So I don't think anybody's going to mistake one of my tracks for one of his, or and vice versa.
Okay.
But I think if you listen closely, you can hear that we share a common thread. Because again, like I talk about the Rock Band, he was in it with me. He was
Oh,
keyboard,
really?
did
Okay.
samples. I mean, he was the one who introduced all of it to me. He sat me down. It's like, dude, you got to learn Ableton. This is how you do it.
Nice.
And then that. But what it was kind of funny. I'll be like, all right, here's all this stuff, man. Here's a plugin, and then I'm the type that would meticulously try to learn how to use it.
Okay. Oh,
So
right.
he's like, I'll come back and I'll learn how you do it. It's like, well, here's this plugin, and then I'll come back and be like, well, did you know that this plugin can do this? You know what I mean? So
Word.
it works back and forth in that way.
Awesome. That's really cool. What might we see next for Nevada Hardware? You got anything on the clip musically?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's like I've done one remix that I already put out for Giant Monsters, and then I just finished up one for Relic. I don't know when that's coming out. And I played that one in Boston. It's going to be up to Jordan. I don't know what he's got going on, but at some point it'll come out someday with something. But I realized remixes, man, take me a long time.
Yeah, good investment.
And particularly because I treat it as like one of my own songs, and I don't want to, half-ass it in any way. And I want it to come through, and I want it to be like, I want them to go, oh shit, who did that one? So, but in doing that, it takes forever. Like just render after render, and just trying to dial in that kick drum just right or whatever. So that slowed me down a lot as far as like new original material between those two. But also, I mean, playing shows too. That's been the thing. I talk about people being interested in what I'm doing and how's that affected me. It's like I need to learn time management, and I'm starting to. But so I have a couple of new tracks in the pipeline. A new one that I'm hoping to debut in Tampa.
Nice.
And I said with that remix coming out, but ideally I'd like to have new material, at least maybe another 6 songs or so, maybe more if I can get it done in time by sometime next year.
Kick ass. David Clark says, your beats are awesome. I was glad to catch you at Convergence. The question is, when will you cosplay as Morris Black? I don't know if you mean me or my guest, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll both dress up as Boston's own Morris Black. Halloween is coming up. He's great.
I've never met the guy, but I feel like he's super tall, right?
He's a big dude, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not. I don't think I can pull it off, man.
That's all right. We
like Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito twin scenario.
We'll put a compressor on you, and that'll just make everything the same level. Music joke, boom. Right. Let me try to fake professionalism and toss out some URLs one more time. You want to go to nevadahardware.bandcamp.com, search for them on iTunes or Spotify or any of that.
Whatever,
Or thinkbreakrecords.com. August 30, right?
August 30th, yeah.
Yes, for Tampa. Check that out. And coming back to Milwaukee, that is a Subspace joint. So big ups to them. they're pretty great. And that's with is that you and Nick in Florida too?
No. It's just me.
Okay.
I'm playing with that. Yeah, it's going to be Giant Monsters, Alpha Quadrant, Ghost Feeder, and
Mm.
Paper Kite. And then in Milwaukee, it's going to be Protector 101 and Street Cleaner.
Very cool. Very cool. Man, that's gonna be this synth wave is all get out. Is laser
No shit.
shit.
I haven't been in front of that crowd really, so I'm kind of curious to see if it hits or if there's any kind of crossover or if I can win some fans that way. I'm excited for it. I think it's possible. And I've never played Milwaukee, so.
All right. Well, I'll have my parents go to your show.
Fantastic.
What's up, the Das Cat Goat?
I'm on the list.
Yes. Well, they're my parents are very supportive. Now, the well, uh, Space Gateers, please let us know if I'll never. I keep saying I'll never call my audience Space Gateers again, and then I let it.
You just have to
It
own it, man.
slides. Yeah. All right. Well, so we're on the home stretch here with the amazing Nevada hardware. I'm gonna need those university guests. Thanks so much for your time. Um, yeah, good old Chicago. The gospel song "Otter Time" is actually about Lincoln Park Zoo, because I used to live across the street from there, and
Okay.
it's free. So if I was angry at like music or something, I would just go, fuck it, Otter Time, and go and zen out in front of those otters. We may be back. What? How is it? How is it out there in the Midwest these days?
How is it?
Yeah, how's Chicago? I haven't been back.
Chicago's, it's weird, man. It's changing.
What do you mean?
Uh, yeah, because you heard they tore down the double door. Well, not tore it down, but shut it down.
That
like,
was a brutal
the venue.
screenshot, dude. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, you saw it.
I saw
They-
the
they
picture of
took
the sign.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I think is funny. Is like Wicker Park is unrecognizable.
Really?
You know. Yeah, because what are they putting in like camping gear, like high-end camping gear for that? It's right next to a Montessori daycare and hot yoga. I mean, it's like to
out.
think that was like the hip part.
Right.
It's weird. It seems maybe it's just shuffling around because I mean that's just kind of the life of the city.
Mhm.
But I live close to Uptown, man, and that
Mhm.
place when I first moved here was frightening, and now it's like super classy. Like
Really?
they're putting in it's just bizarre.
Right.
But that's just how it goes.
I guess, yeah, that was when I was like, time was like Wicker Park was like the place to be, and
Right.
if you wanted to carry a gat and wash your back, you could go to Logan Square. Now Logan Square is the place to be, or was
Yeah,
when I
swear.
left.
I mean that's yeah.
And
Well, yeah, Logan Square in particular, and then yeah, it's oh yeah, and you know how Belmont used to be crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like they would have these, like what is it? They tore down the Pumpkin Donuts, right? And now they build a super Target there.
oh,
But it's hilarious because it's still right next to the Ebor's Dungeon, the sex shop.
oh,
So
awesome.
still.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
I
fantastic.
know that Target because I used to have to. Oh my God, yeah, that was weird because I was working in. I know we're talking local talk on a show from space, but no, I used to have
Sorry,
to get
everybody.
on the Purple Line there to get because I had a horrible job in Skokie, and I passed that intersection every day to just and to watch the alley get turned into a Target was like, what insane land is this? I've so many coffees gotten at that Dunkin' Donuts. Um,
It's the same thing with like it's right down the street with like Neo closing. I mean, that was interesting.
yeah, that was. I could do a whole episode on that. I grew up in that building.
Yeah.
How did we never meet? I gotta
I don't-
ask you. What's that?
I found this. I was cleaning out my closet and I found I was at the 25th anniversary of you. I got a mix from Jeff Moyer.
Yeah.
His CD. I still have it, man.
Nice.
So it's funny. Yeah, it's funny we never ran into each other. Just because maybe we did. We just never said hi.
It physically pains me to ask the following question because
Sure.
I have been asked this 1,000 times. But I have to know where you got the band name Nevada Hardware. I know. You can pass. I'm springing this on you.
Well, I mean, I'll talk around it. Okay.
Okay.
But the one thing I wanted to make when I was trying to that's the other thing that I thought was difficult moving to electronic music is like, well, what the hell is my sound? You know, I mean, it's pretty diverse thing. It's like, okay, well, I wanted the freedom to be able to write whatever I want to do. And I'm like, okay, well, Nevada Hardware, what the hell would that sound like, right? There's not going to have any problems with search engine optimization with that. You're going to be able to find me. But ultimately, it's funny. Like that's what I think AJ from Echo House pointed out. It's like, it's like I'm from Chicago and I use software. What the fuck they call myself?
Well, it's a great name because like it's good. There's a story. It comes with its own backstory almost. Like you got to figure.
That's what I mean. It's like you knew that there's an intention there, but it's not explicit. And trying to figure it out is half the fun.
Awesome. Oh God. What a great way to end this episode. That really got me jazzed. Doug, I'm gonna hit I'm gonna break the transmission here. I mean, it costs billions of dollars to send this from space here to the Midwest of the United States. So we're gonna punch out in a second. What's up to Michael? And all right, I'm gonna hit the ending credits now. We can talk over those. Well, my space gear, my Bluetooth space gear sometimes needs. There we go. Okay, dude, great episode. Thank you so much for coming on Space Couch. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, you're not like. I can't wait to hear that Relic remix. I mean, I heard it live in Boston, but like, that band's great, and with the Nevada Hardware Golden Touch, I mean.
It's wacky, dude. Like, no, you can. Here's what I say: it's like I stay true to what I sound like and what they sound like.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, you heard to hear that breakdown. I just say, yeah, let's just throw some breaks in here. Let's chop this shit up. Let's see what we can do with it.
Okay. Well, should you ever return to Boston, I will be at that show. Good luck in Tampa and Milwaukee. And this is Space Couch for Nevada Hardware. Signing out. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to say the catchphrase. We're going to sign out with the catchphrase. Call the spaceships to Davenport. Nevada Hardware. Thanks again. Bye.